All right. Hello, everybody. Good evening. Today is February the 2nd, 2023, and we have Chris on the line with us tonight. Yay. We missed you last week, Chris.
Yeah, man, that was kind of a strange. My phone was totally out. I didn't even know it, that should have been a good indication because there's hardly a day that goes by where I don't get a phone call.
Yeah, so, sometimes you just got to restart your phone.
Yeah, and I had been going through some dealings there with the ruptured disc in my back, and that's a lot better. And I have a couple of options they told me to think about. So.
Oh, by the way, speaking of that, I sent you an email. There's a gentleman that has this machine. It's like a great big light bulb or something. You put it on the affected area for 20 minutes a day, and the thing does a remarkable job of healing you. So I sent you an email about 3 or 4 days ago, so look for that and see if that's something.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Okay, if that's something you want to do, let me know.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Okay.
They've given me a couple of different options. Some are a little less invasive than others, but they told me to basically take it easy for the next week or two and let this thing get itself back to normal size. Let the swelling get out completely, and we're going to top out it again. Yesterday I had my last 3 teeth that had issues with them, and they're like, we can do root canals or, but you're better off just to go ahead and have them pulled. So I had them pulled.
Yeah.
And so now I'm ready. Is next Wednesday I go back and this dentist, this surgical type extraction kind of guy. Well, I was going to look at him, and he's going to give me the go-ahead. I'll go back to my dentist friend, and we're going to work out some options, and maybe in the next month or two I'll have a full set of teeth back in my mouth. That'd be great.
Wow.
I would love to be able to eat a steak, y'all. I haven't ate a steak in a long, long time, man. So that, that's that. Tomorrow afternoon, I'm supposed to speak with the Treasury guy and find out what's going on with the IRS, and I guess I'll figure out whether it's been resolved or what do we have to do or whatever the case may be. But I have been approved. I have been approved to start the private banking. There's 20 private banks that they want me to do or train first, teach first. They have their picks. After I do that, I'll have mine. That's probably the way I got it figured out, the basic process is in anybody with a GED or, made it through the 10th grade, should be able to learn this process in about 5 weeks. 5 weeks of class and then 2 weeks of learning the paperwork. And I think the way I'm going to do it is, as I teach the paperwork, I'm going to instruct how to fill it out. So we can, in those 2 weeks, we can kind of kill 2 birds with one stone. Within 7 weeks, I'll have the first 20 done, and then I'll start my 20. It's kind of quid pro quo. I said, look, I don't care. I'll train whoever you want, whoever you send my way, but I have to have equally trained amount of people to do what I'm doing. I spoke with a gentleman last night who is into. He's into some. I talked with him for over 3 hours, y'all, and this guy here is one smart cookie. He knows a lot of the stuff that I've learned, and and put me up on some stuff that I will be able to check into, and how we're going to mesh what I can get into with what these guys are getting into. These guys have been doing banking, and it's kind of like this. All banking goes through London. We didn't win the Revolutionary War. They left, and then they loan us the money to pay for it. So even though this is our country and all this and that, it's their money. So that's what's going on. All banking pretty much goes through. It's all, the Rothschilds, and the powerful banks they're all working through that. But this guy that I spoke with last night, super intelligent guy, man. He was telling me stuff, and I was looking it up as we were going along. He was explaining things to me, what they were into, and without getting into too much detail and taking a lot of time up, this is some fantastic. Last night's conversation was one of the most beneficial conversations I've had in the last 6 months, I know. And if it works this way, the process is going to happen a lot faster than I even assumed that it was going to take. It may be something really simple. A lot of the banking aspects of it, the common man may be able to do without going through all these crazy steps. As far as taking care of things, this guy has discharged court cases like crazy. One of them being a murder case. While going through the banking, this guy is, into the QSIP and bonds and banking, and it's really interesting, man. A lot of the stuff that he was talking about, I had a clear comprehension of prior to the talk, but there were a few keys that he dropped that opened up some doors and connected some things, and they gave me a better comprehension of what's even possible. So this is looking really good. I'll find out tomorrow. I'll probably let Tad know something almost immediately. There's about a dozen of y'all that I stay in close contact with. This is Michael calling in. Don't go nowhere. I'm going to try and three-way him in, okay?
Okay.
Let me see if I can do this. Okay. All right, Michael?
Yeah.
Hey, Michael. All right, Tad, are you there?
Yep, we're all here, all 52 of us.
Okay, that worked rather well. Everybody, I just three-wayed in my friend Michael in the call tonight. So
I didn't expect to be in a crowd.
Yeah, well, You're in it.
Welcome to the call, Michael. My name's Tad.
Hello, Tad.
I host this call every week, and my website that I host it through is youhavetheright.com. So welcome, and it's good to hear your voice.
Thank you.
Yeah, he's we were bunkies. We were cellmates for about 5 months in the county jail. So we're closer than brothers, y'all. He connected with me. We tried this last week and it didn't work. So because I wasn't on a call. I was on a Zoom conference
Yeah.
And I couldn't get him in. I tried it with Waverly too, and I couldn't get him in. So
wow. I just
maybe
made a call.
Well, I'm glad you did. It's a good time. Good timing.
Yeah.
So I was explaining to them, Michael, and all the listeners here, that the work that I'm doing with the banking situation, and a guy that I met last night, maybe tomorrow we can get into a little more detail about what the discussion was about, so I don't have to repeat this all over again. But
yeah, that's quite all right.
And there's some new stuff going on and some old stuff to share, and so we're in this call tonight with a bunch of other folks, and usually how it goes down is we'll talk a little bit and discuss what's new, and then we go into a question and answers thing.
Okay.
So
I'll just be a fly on the wall and absorb whatever I can absorb.
Yeah. The guy I talked to last night, Michael, is a friend of Gene Keating.
Wow. That's a guy I was always wanting to know more about for the last 4.5 years.
Yeah, he's known him for 20 years.
I still think that he is a big key, a big part of the puzzle.
Yeah, he's got a lot of information, and I was talking last night. Michael had ordered 5 of his books to come into the jail.
No, it wasn't Gene Keating. It was David Robinson.
That's right. Yeah, my bad. I got it wrong, man. He'd ordered 5 books from David Robinson, and a lot of y'all have probably read those too. But I can't remember. How many was it? 3 they wouldn't let in?
Well,
they wouldn't allow? Or?
At first we heard about them from Ron Lyons next door in the other pod, and we would share them during the time we were out in the cage outside. And I read 2 of them, and then I wanted my buddy up in Michigan to order them for me. And by the time my buddy ordered them, the jailers have already discovered what the content were, so they wouldn't let me have 3 out of 5.
Yeah. So, and I always said if they wasn't going to let books like that in, there had to have been something in there that they were afraid of.
Most definitely. Well, we were using the same things in the courtroom, and that information was also being shared in the other pods. So that's what kind of perked up the jailers to see what was inside what we were reading. And that's what they were afraid of, that it might free a few people in their own courtroom hearings. So they
it did.
Yeah.
Yeah, it actually did. There was one guy that I was talking to in there. He was a Muslim, and I think it was like a vice lord or something like that. A lot of the men in the vice lords are Muslims, and but he was in there on a Grand Theft Auto charge.
Yeah.
And was looking at 3 years. And I worked with him some. And first time he went in, he told the lawyer, he said, "Look, man, I've been talking to these guys in jail, and and this is what," he showed the lawyer the piece of paper that we read, Michael.
Exactly.
And he showed it to the lawyer, and the lawyer's like, "You go in there and do that." He's not going to listen to you today. He said, "Well, I'm going to do it." So they kept him downstairs, and then the lawyer came back down and said, he's not going to listen to you today. He'll bring you back in 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And they brought him. Yeah, they brought him back, and he went in, and the lawyer said, "Now look, if you could try any of that funny sovereign citizen business, he's going to throw the book at you." And he said, "Well, I am." So he didn't get seen that week either.
Yeah.
Then he came back to me and I said, "Dude, are you not listening to me? Why are you even talking to this lawyer?"
Tell them. Don't warn them.
So he had enough time in there to memorize what it was that we said. I said, "Don't go in there with the paper. Go in there and spit this out. You've memorized it. You can do this. I've heard you say it a bunch of times. You need to quit being scared. And if the lawyer tells you to, it asks you that question, are you going to, go in there and say this stuff? Just tell them, say, I'm ready. Let's go. Let's go talk to the judge."
Yep.
And then when you go in there, start saying it. And this guy could have been out probably 5 or 6 weeks earlier if he'd have just did it the first time.
Yeah.
But he was scared. The second time he went in there and he came back and explained to me what happened, I said, "Don't you see what they're doing? They don't want you to say that because they know they'll lose." And I finally talked him enough to convince him to do it. And he went in there that third time after about 6 or 7 weeks. I told that lawyer, he said, "I just want to get this over with. Let's get in there." And the lawyer just naturally assumed that he wasn't going to do it. He went in there and said what we said, without prejudice and all that.
Yeah.
And they rushed him out. And he came back to the jail. And I said, "What happened, man?" He said, "Well, I went in there and I said that stuff, dude, like you said, man. And then they held me there till late in the afternoon and came back down and said, the judge has dropped the charges. They're going to release you back out on your original probation," because he was on probation when he did that.
Oh, okay.
And they're going to drop the charges and they're going to release you back into probation. Well, he probably could have argued that and had that dropped too.
Right.
But he was just wanting out, so he said, "Yeah, I'll do that."
Yeah.
So he's contracting with him.
Exactly.
And there were other people that went in there and said that stuff. I know of at least a half a dozen the first 3 months that we were in there that went in there, without prejudice. Christopher Allen Cohen Hauser, Beneficiary, am here under fraud, menace, and duress, fiduciary, Cheryl. This is a Social Security Cestui Que Trust action, which are now a real party and interest to. This is a military admiralty jurisdiction in maritime law. See Title IV of the United States Code, Lawyer's Edition, Interpretive Notes and Decisions, placing a fringe on the national flag within the discretion of the President, acting as the Commander-in-Chief of the Army and the Navy. That's what they said.
Well, 5 years later, you still got it memorized.
Oh, yeah. As many times as I wrote it and went over it with people, it's in there. and that's what they did. There was a young guy he didn't even have a GED. A young brown man, and I didn't even know what his charges were. I didn't really care. He said, "Man, can you teach me that stuff?" You know how they'd serve us breakfast early in the morning, then they'd take the court people out.
Yeah.
And then we'd go back to sleep.
Yeah.
This guy came up to me right before chow. You know how we'd all line up, and he said, "Hey, man, I'm going into this." I never even talked to the guy the whole time he was in there. He said, "I'm going into court today, man. Can you teach me that?" Or he said, "I'm going into court. I'm going to court. Can you teach me that stuff, what you say?" And I said, "Yeah, man, as soon as we get up at 8 o'clock in the morning, hit me up and I'll start working with you." He said, man, I got to go this morning. So while my breakfast was getting cold, it was cold anyway, but I sat there and I wrote down what to say. I said, just go in there, dude, and pull this out and start reading it. He said, okay, man. And he came back and he said, they dropped the charges, man. They're releasing me today. Releasing me today as soon as I got a ride that'll come pick me up. Now, I don't even know what his charges was. But
yeah.
That's what we did, y'all. Me and this man right here, Michael, we taught people while they were in jail, how to address these courts, these military tribunals. And it was messing them up. Not only were we teaching people to say this, we were teaching people that they didn't have to go. So the guards would come in. Yeah, tell them.
We're going too.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I don't have court today. Didn't we tell you the last time he tried to make us go? That's a military admiralty jurisdiction in maritime law. Yeah. I'm not in the military. I don't have court today. The trust does. The trust can do court without me. I don't care. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, go ahead, Mike.
We wouldn't have learned any of this without being kidnapped.
Yeah. Yeah, it gave us time to learn.
Yep.
Michael here, y'all, is an avid reader. It's crazy. I wish I had a nickel for every book this man's read.
I'm reading 4 or 5 at a time. I can't keep track of them all.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's a lot of the stuff that we do. A lot of the stuff that you guys are interested in is the stuff that he reads. I try to read a little every night what I can, but I'm in right now. I'm into a book. It's the Sabbath Anthology. It's a book on the Sabbath.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah, I read some good books while I was in there.
I read about 90. I lost track after about 90.
Yeah.
Different titles.
I read the 98 Laws of Power by Robert Greene. That's a really interesting book if you guys are looking for a book to read. This guy's an inspirational speaker. It's a bit unorthodox what he's talking about, but I read another book. It was called Thinking and Destiny by Percival, and that book was probably the deepest book I've ever read. It was crazy, really hard to comprehend. But that's what you do when you're locked up like that. You've got nothing to do but read. You use your time and read.
I did a lot of writing too.
Mm-hmm.
Sorting out things on paper.
Yeah.
I did group letters that I would mail out to my sister, and then she would email them to another 20 people.
Mm-hmm.
So, are you guys ready to take questions?
Sure.
All right. 812 area code, go ahead. Tracy. 812 area code.
Oh,
Make sure your phone. There you go. You had your phone muted.
I thought it unmuted me. I'm sorry. So my question is, and I've looked in your videos to see if I could find the answer, but I can't. Do I need to notify the IRS that I'll be accessing my trust, or do I just go ahead and start using like the 1099A?
Absolutely. You don't have to notify. You don't have to notify them that you in quotation marks are using the trust, because you aren't using the trust. It's your trustees that use the trust.
Yeah, they're all fiduciary trustees.
Okay.
So Yeah, you don't have to do that. What you need to do is find the trustees, the ones that are willing to do the trusteeship. You go to the hospital.
You access it directly.
That's right.
Right.
You go to the hospital, and because you're sick, and you go through the ER, and they say, "Come around here to this side window," and you go around there and you sit down. The lady hands you a paper. What's your Social Security number? I'll sign this paper here. Well, you're contracting.
You're authorizing them.
Yeah. You're making them your fiduciary. Well, now they can hit your trust. They can use your trust to pay for whatever it was that the hospital was service that they were going to provide. It's their job as trustees to do what's beneficial for the beneficiary.
Mm-hmm.
Charging your trust the amount of the ER visit, then turn around and charging you the amount is double dipping. There you go.
Yeah, right. They do that in prison too. Everybody had their hand out wanting you to sign a document authorizing them to access your Cestui Que Trust.
Oh, I'm sure. So let me ask you this.
Go ahead.
My son wants to use a 1099-A to pay me for a truck that he borrowed from me that he totaled. That's okay, right?
If he's going to buy the totaled vehicle from you, then you can be the trustee and sell it to him. Doing all the other the OID and the 96 and the 40B and the the 8888 and the 8281, and you can do all of that and have him pay you for that. Yeah, because you're acting. All he has to do is give you that 1099-A that has his trust number on it. Now you become a trustee.
Okay, that's what I thought.
You don't have to appoint someone your trustee with the 56. But I'm not saying that you shouldn't do that either, because in some cases it's good. The judge already knows he's a trustee, or should know that he's a trustee. But it wouldn't hurt to serve him with one. Here's a 56, man. You're now a trustee. Yeah, you can do that with your son.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
That was all I had.
All right, thank you. So let's do that. Let's go over here. Glenn.
Hey, Chris. Hi, Ted. How you doing? Hi, Mike. This is Glenn. I'm in Michigan. I'll make this quick. I got a few points of questions. I mentioned last week that when you went on there, just for everybody, the 56 callers, go to youhavetheright.com. It's all the tools are right there. A lot of the questions that I've been hearing over the last few weeks. When you apply for that subscription, all the forms, a lot of tools are there to learn. So I suggest you go for it. I was introduced to you from a friend back in June last year, and I studied hard and started applying everything in last August. And one of the things I found is that the mortgage companies, all the people that have your Social Security, they want to they want to delay and not respond, or they respond and they don't answer. And I'm finding, at least from my end, I've heard of the success stories, but I'm finding from my end that we have to hit them with the conditional acceptance to force them. And then when the conditional acceptance hits, and they don't respond to that, I have to move them to litigation. Is that a fair assessment?
No.
No?
There's nothing to litigate. There's nothing to litigate with a conditional acceptance. You're not. If you're litigating, You're saying, I believe you owe me this, or I believe you should have done this for me, and now we're going to let some judge decide. A conditional acceptance doesn't work that way.
Okay.
A conditional acceptance is a contract that they're agreeing to.
Okay.
If they don't meet those conditions in the 10 days allotted, then there's nothing to litigate.
Okay.
It's a done deal. It is over. That's why you can monetize the conditional acceptance, create an assignment agreement, and contract it to the Treasury. If it had to be litigated, you couldn't. If it had to be litigated, you couldn't contract it with the Treasury.
Okay.
That conditional acceptance. Say the dealership isn't responding to you.
Yes, sir.
You could do the conditional acceptance and say, here's option. As far as the conditions go, you can say, here's option A. Meet all these conditions, like you'll find in the examples in the conditional acceptances that are on file here and there. And then you can have option B. Option B is you don't have to meet the obligations of option A if you complete option B. Option B is give me the car that I want using the 1099-A.
Okay. So
they're going to look at that and they're going to go, I'm either going to get lien, I'm either going to have the Treasury end up liening me if they read the conditional acceptance. They'll go, this guy can either send this off and have me lien for $8 million or $9 million or whatever the case may be, or I can go on ahead and do this thing I'm scared to do.
But Chris, I thought the leading was, sir, I was thinking, I thought you heard when, well, that's a UCC1. So a lien is a whole different thing. So I can actually lien the dealership or the mortgage company or whoever I want, correct?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No, you're not leaning them directly.
The Treasury's doing that for you.
You've assigned it.
So I sign it to the Treasury. What is that, Form 3779 or 97 or?
No, you can.
UCC3.
Well, you don't even have to do that. You don't even have to do that. What we did, we did UCC1, which is this financing statement. It's a claim of lien. And then we use the UCC3s because every time you do a 1, you get a document number. Well, you can attach that document number from the UCC1 to a UCC3, and that's assigning it to the Treasuries. Then you turn around and you make a contract with the Treasury, right? But because we were in prison and we didn't have access to the UCC, what we did, the way me and Michael did this in 2016, y'all, we had access to the UCC, and we made the UCC1s, we made them the underlying security agreement. But when I got to prison, we didn't have access to the UCC and really don't need to use the UCC because the conditional acceptance is the underlying security agreement. So what we do is we monetize the back. Michael, it would be monetizing the back side of the last page.
Yeah,
you know, the one that we had. Yeah, the one that we had. Notarized, and then send the whole thing. Assign that whole thing. That's the underlying security agreement. And see, now we don't have to do that. What we've been doing this last year with the conditional acceptance is taking the UCC completely out of it. If we would have done this, you know, I've talked to Michael about this already, but I'll say it anyway. If me and Michael and our friends would have done, if we would have monetized the underlying security agreement or the conditional acceptance and then create an assignment agreement and a contract with the Treasury, the UCC would have never been involved. Tennessee wouldn't have had the only document, the only hard evidence that they had against us was the UCC one.
Okay.
They didn't use the underlying security agreement because the minute they would have put the contract into the case, we would have won. They had to have all them witnesses set up on that stand and say, we didn't have a contract with this guy. My ex-wife had to say, I didn't have a contract with my ex-husband. Well, that's
okay.
what would have blew their case. So
okay.
that's how you would the dealership, that they won't take your 1099A and get you the car that they should be doing as the trustee. Well, okay, they made you an offer. They made you an offer to commit fraud against your trust. You were supposed to do that. Apply? You became a. Would it apply to what?
Would it also, since 7310 applies to public debts, public and private, would that apply to LLCs we set up as well? Use it because we use our SOC to open the bank account that funds the LLC to pay the LLC's obligations, right? Or is that just crazy thinking on my part, sir?
Well, no. See, I think you're mixing.
Yeah, you're confusing things.
Yeah, you're mixing one process with another. The Social Security account is not an LLC.
Correct.
There's no incorporation.
Got it. Okay.
The trust is the Social Security Cestui Que Trust is basically an express trust.
Gotcha.
So if you wanted to get money from a trustee and have it like for instance when I start doing the loans, I can send them when the Treasury sends me funds through the porthole, and then I direct those. I take out my 6%, and I send you what you wanted in the loan. Then I can send that to your beneficiary account. You can say, hey, Chris, as soon as you get the money, send it to this. Here's the bank number, or here's the routing number, and here's the account number. This is my beneficiary account. Now, if I do that, if you have a beneficiary account, the Treasury is not going to be able to freeze that account. The bank can't close that account. Only the beneficiary. Don't ever think that they're going to close your account on you. Don't even talk to them that way. Because if they attempt to say, oh, well, you can't have this account, we have to close this. You can't close it. The minute you close this account, I'm going to have you hit with trust fraud. I'm going to charge you with felony trust fraud. And then I'm going to report you to the SEC. They'll stop that talk about, oh, well, we got to close your account. Now, you can do that, or you can create an express trust.
You're getting my juices there, boss.
Yeah, I know people that have. I know one individual's got 12 of them. You can create an express trust or a foreign grantor's trust, and then I can send the money to the account associated with that foreign trust or that express trust, and that too can't be messed with. You know what I'm saying?
I do. So, a couple other things, sir. One, I'd like to send a follow-up email in the morning to follow up with you, but last two things I wanted to ask you is I always believe walking through the gate before I tell others to do it, so I willfully stopped paying my mortgage in August. It's with Shell Point, and I was in legal foreclosure defense back in 2000. 2008 through 2012 in Michigan here, and we helped a lot of people. But the big firm in Michigan is Trott Law, Trott and Trott, and matter of fact, David Trott went on to be.
They got me back in 2007. I was had a house in Pontiac, and they went after me too.
Yep, and David Trott moved on to be a U.S. Congressman, House Special, eh? So Shell Point, I had done the conditional acceptance, sent everything to them, and they needed more time, and then they referred my case with. They sent me a letter asking for more time, and I have all the documentation, certified mails, everything, and they sent it over to Trott, who actually sent me a letter that I received on the 15th of January. It was undated. How shocking is that? And they said that I have until February 18th to verify the debt or dispute it. And then on the 19th, they sent out a letter that they were moving to foreclosure because of that undated FDCPA letter, and they moved it to foreclosure as of the 24th. I have the money to pay it, and I'm actually paying it next week to get it caught up because and I also followed up with a call to Trott Law, and I had the secretary, Barbara, there email me over the letter, so I have it right from their email that it's undated. And I sent them the conditional acceptance on the 20th, certified mail. And I'm going to bring the mortgage current, just, I'll pay the blood money just so I have a lot. But you pretty much just answered that, because I was going to actually take him to court, but I'm going to hit him with that UCC3. So if it's okay with you, if it's not in your videos, if it's all right, I'll send you an email. And my whole point is, it's not just about me. Because I've always worked for the people. Like when I worked, did foreclosure defense back a decade ago. How many people are they screwing? Thousands in Michigan. They're screwing with these undated letters, and I want, quite frankly, I want to break it off. All right, I want to break it off in them, and I expose them. And
they try to foreclose on you for a debt that doesn't exist.
Correct. I'm aware.
Public Law 73-10. There says all debts public and private are paid for, and if you, and there's all kinds of federal law that says that a bank can't loan you their money or their depositor's money. It's your money. They what they do is they do the 1099-A, and then they check box 5, because by checking box 5, then they can take the principal that you send them, send it back to your trust and trust credits, and keep the interest.
Okay.
Good. We're going to get ours off the top. When the banks open up, y'all, we're getting our money straight off the top, and it's over. And that's the way it's supposed to be.
So what I should do is hit them with the UCC3 instead of taking them to court, is what I'm hearing.
No, the UCC3 is not a part of the process.
Yeah. You don't need to do that. What you need to do is do the conditional acceptance. Yeah, what you need to do is do the conditional acceptance, right? Because in the conditional acceptance, if you used our template, when you said in there, if you do this to me and continue to do this to me, I got to do this to you again next year. So if you did the conditional acceptance in December, and now they're trying to screw around with you in 2023, you get to do this to them again. But here's what's really going to affect them. The same people that are trying to sue you are now biased.
Okay.
Because they owe you money.
Yep. All right.
How are you going to bring me up in here and try and sue me for a mortgage that you claim that doesn't exist, first of all?
Wait a minute. Before you go too far, Trott and Trott is actually a third-party debt collector. They're not the original people involved with the supposed loan that you received, mortgage. They're a third-party debt collector, and you have to treat them like that. They're a nobody.
Okay,
They're nobody that owes you money.
I did. I hit them both. I hit Shell Point and Trott at the same time, and they have until February 10th. I mean, they have February 10th to respond, and at which point I have to enforce it. That's my.
Well,
that's my time.
It'll enforce itself.
Yeah, there's
What
nothing
you need
to enforce.
What you need to do is monetize that as soon as their 10 days are up. If they're already up, monetize the back of the conditional acceptance, create an assignment agreement. If you Google search on assignment agreement, there's all kinds of different templates out there. Find out the one that suits your situation the most. You know, the thing to understand is what you're doing is you're assigning this underlying security agreement that you've monetized. You're assigning the whole amount to Janet Yellen. And then what Janet Yellen will do, she'll go after him.
I enjoy it.
So,
no, I'm with you. I'll jump all over this, and if it's all right with you, I have your email. I'll send you an email. I'll study it over the weekend. I'll send you an email on Sunday. And look, I'm all in. I mean, I've been committed since last June. I've heard the
guys up in Michigan that could probably also network with you.
Chris?
I'm sorry?
Yeah.
This is also the gentleman that has the machine I told you about.
Oh, yeah, Chris, I told Ted. It's a badass machine. You're 8 hours from me. It's a day trip. I was hit by a drunk driver in '95. I was paralyzed, neurological paralysis. I was in a wheelchair for 8 months, and you know, I've been hit 3 subsequent times, and this is the machine from a gentleman out in Washington, and I actually have 2 of them. And I know you don't like people to show me your house, but I'm more than happy to drop it off and walk away and let you use it. But I use the machine 20 minutes a day, once a week at this point, but I use it 20 minutes a day. And the first time my wife dragged me into this machine shop in Cohocton, Michigan, I couldn't even walk, and I walked out of there after 20 minutes. And I've been using that machine for 14 years, and the doctors don't even know how I'm walking. And I said, well, you know, that's too bad. I'm still here. And it's a light bulb. It's painless. You put your feet on a glass plate, and you hold the bulb to wherever the affected area is, and it, you know, I'm a walking testimony to it. And matter of fact, you know, I just use it all the time. So if you want,
would like to look at that too.
Who?
He's the one, y'all, that Everett. He just broke his back a couple weeks ago.
Well, wherever you need me to drop it, I'll drop it. It's cheaper for me to drive it than to send it. It's $400 to send it because it's kind of large. It's in a case. I'll do that offline with you guys. But it's a lifesaver, and I should still be in a wheelchair. 28 years later, and here I am walking. So you know, but I'm happy to share with you. I'll send you an email. And we'll go from there.
Do
that.
Right?
Take a few pictures.
I'll do it.
Yeah, do that. That'd be great.
I'll do it. I'll do that. And thank you for your time. And Mike and Chris.
No,
I'll help
you with your situation there, bro.
Cool. All right. Hey, thanks. All right. I'll shut my mouth.
Man, have a blessed night.
You too, brother.
323 area code. You're next.
Oh, great. Hey, Chris, Richard Murphy here. Thanks for taking my call, Tad. Thank you for putting all of this on. I've got a couple of short bullet points to ask you about, one of which is the 1099. The hospital accepts it. The dealership accepts it. Great. But it takes who knows how long because nobody's received their funds. So what is the real benefit of the nice lady who was on the phone earlier or anybody getting somebody else to accept a 1099-A if they're not going to get their money for who knows how long?
Well, I was watching some videos earlier today, and the congressmen and women, one of the things that they're doing now that the Republicans have gotten control of the House, they are questioning why, if the COVID thing is over, like Biden's saying, why are they still not back to work? Part of our problem, y'all, is everybody's taking this a lot of government workers, Social Security, Treasury, IRS, they're still working from home.
Right.
And the big question is now, why aren't they back at work? I heard just recently that a lot of people are going to be pissed off about this, especially those that are getting, there's been a drastic reduction in the refunds that people are going to get this year. Instead of like $3,200 for the dependents, earned income credit on each dependent, it's $2,000. So if you've got 2 kids, you're going to take and you're eligible for the earned income credit and all that, you're going to lose $2,400. And also I heard a whole list of the reductions. And then they're talking about don't even expect a return till around August. All these people that like to file in February and get a check in 2-3 weeks, it may be the end of summer before you see any money from it.
It's a big backlog.
That's what's going on, and the situation with the 1099As is, I think that at first I thought that getting this foundation up, getting these people trained to bank, and all that was it wasn't gonna be as fast as I would have appreciated it to be. But after the conversation that I've had over the last 2 or 3 days, I think that it's going to be a lot simpler. There's another process that I'm going to work on and work with others at, which may actually open it up for the common man to go directly through the Treasury, because you got to remember the Treasury is the Janet Yellen. She's actually, by default, she's the trustee.
Right.
So they can actually do it. It may come down to the point where you'll have the 1099A. You'll go to the mortgage company or the dealership, and you'll actually do it. I want to buy this car right here. You'll send the 1099A directly to the Treasury. They'll act as the trustee and pay the funds. That may be a doable process within the next couple months, which means you could be cutting the bank. You could be cutting the private banks out of it. But that'll just be for, like, say you want a car, or you need a car, or you need a credit card paid off or something like that, and they work like that. But as far as collecting a large sum, you may have to go through the loan process to do that. So,
but the woman who called.
Go ahead.
No, I interrupted you, Chris. Go ahead.
No.
The lady, the son, the car, and if she accepts the 1099A and becomes a trustee, she can sell the car, but she's not going to get her money from the Treasury for who knows how long.
Yeah, in a situation like that, she could have time. She could have time. Her son wrecked her car.
Right.
So it's not like he's buying it to go drive it. And it's not a dealership that's selling the car. Hospitals wait a long time anyway.
Oh, okay.
You know,
all right.
With a hospital bill, they don't care to wait. They
Really?
don't. They they don't. Hospital bills, you know, medical bills, you can have them completely taken off your credit report.
Right. Well, the credit reporting agencies are criminal.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm just saying, as far as the hospital situation could go, they wait a long time for their money anyway. Check it out.
Okay.
My when I was in the military, my oldest child, she's 30 years old now. I was over in the war in Iraq, the Desert Storm, and my wife moved back to East Tennessee. Well, she couldn't use, there was no military hospital, you know, base hospital close by. So she went into a program that's called, let me see, I can't remember straight off right hand, but she went to see civilian doctors. My child was born in a Morristown Hamlin Hospital. It cost me $8.
Nice.
The whole thing cost me $8. It's called Champus, is what it is. It's Champus insurance. If you're in the military and you get in a wreck and there's no military hospital close by, Champus is going to pay. Well, Champus, the hospital will submit its bill to Champus. It might be 8 months to a year before they get paid. And they're only going to get paid what Champus is willing to pay them. And they have to settle. They have to settle with that. There's no arguing with Uncle Sam when it comes to Champus. We pay so much money for this thing and that thing, this thing. We're not paying $150 for Tylenol. You know,
got it. Okay.
We'll pay $20 for the Tylenol. That's kind of how that'll work. But as far as then there's other processes going on right now, bro.
Cool.
You got a hospital bill. You could W-4 process the hospital bill. You could W-4 any of the debts. Any of the debts can be W-4'd. Even the court bonds, the bonds with the courts can be W-4'd.
Right.
So, and that's not it. There's another process out there where folks are actually printing their own checks from their Social Security account.
Negotiable instruments, yes, that's one of my questions.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And they're having mega success with that. One guy's been that I talked to here about a week ago. He's only had one so far that there was a problem with.
Is the first letter of his first name the first letter of his first name J?
No, but I'm pretty familiar with who you're talking about there. That's another guy who's doing a real similar process who's had a lot of success too.
The guy's in Texas, right?
Yeah, I know. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I've done what he has told me to do, and I have had zero success. So any details, I got the printer, the magnetic ink, I activate the ink, everything. I'm about to send one to the U.S. Treasury and take the check number, routing number, and account number off the bottom and say, look, according to UCC 8, you must deposit and process this as a negotiable instrument.
Yeah. When people first started doing this, bro, they were sending these things to the so-called creditor. I spoke with a gal there from California a couple nights ago. She was doing something not negotiable instrument is what she was doing, but she wasn't printing her own. Yeah, she wasn't printing her own thing like these guys are doing. She did something similar, though, and she sent it to the mortgage company. The mortgage company, she went on to the website and accessed the account. and she printed off the payoff where it showed zero balance. They accepted the whole payment for her mortgage to pay her mortgage off. But all they did was they took out the $2,100 for the monthly payment and then stole the rest of it. So I told her, I said, here's what you need to do. Create the same instrument, but this time send it to the Treasury. Let the Treasury pay off the mortgage. Once you have confirmation that they've paid sent the funds and paid off the mortgage, now you can call back to the mortgage company because, see, after about a month they locked her out where she couldn't access the county.
Oh. Wow.
Right? But she said, but I was in there and I printed off all kinds of stuff before they locked me out. I printed off all this proof. So I said, look, man, all you got to do now is send that to the Treasury. Let the Treasury pay it off. Now you can go back and say, look, I know for a fact that the Treasury has paid this, and I also know for a fact that you accepted the payment and you stole this much money. So I've got proof right here in your own records that it was that the account was zeroed out, and so you have 72 hours to send me a check for the balance, or I'm going to have you audited from the IRS, and I'm also going to report this to the Security and Exchange Commission.
Nice.
For securities fraud. Okay. I said, see how fast they... So if you've done this process and you haven't seen anything from it, I do know for when these guys first started this process out, that they were sending them to the mortgage company, sending them to the auto loan or Ford.
Right. Yeah. Credit cards.
Bank of America and stuff like that. And and some of them were the accounts were being settled, and because some of them weren't, they started going to the Treasury over it. Now it's paying out like crazy.
Oh, that's good to know, because banks like Comenity and Discover and Citi, they either rejected it outright or applied the payment and then reversed it a week later. Comenity reversed it 34 days later. And I'm doing it exactly how the instructions are laid out. So now I'll send one directly to the Treasury without that stuff at the bottom. No account number, no routing number, no nothing. Just my exemption number under my authorized signature without prejudice line. I'll sign it in blue ink with my beneficiary signature and send that off to the remittance office at 1500.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what they're doing.
Okay. So
I've talked to these folks, and I talked to the J guy, and I talked to the other guy, and
you've talked to them.
I've heard them both say that they've had multiple car loans and credit cards settled, and mortgages. About a half a dozen mortgages have been settled.
Right. Well, he said.
As far as I know, only one mortgage was reversed, and so
that's
like,
the key coming into the Treasury.
Yeah, you ought to go ahead and send it to the Treasury.
Done. Okay.
Because
so
the
that
Treasury will do it. The Treasury's going to take. They're going to take a percentage. Every taxpayer is assessed to K Trust.
Right.
So you go down there and you have them, you send a negotiable instrument to the Treasury to pay off a $450,000 loan. They're going to take, not only are they going to take the $450,000 from your trust to pay the mortgage off, they're also going to collect their taxes because it's the trust. Every taxpayer is assessed to K Trust.
That's fine. They're happy to get the money.
So the Treasury is going to go, yeah, we're going to take 32% or whatever their average for you or for your trust is. They're going to pull that. bam. You don't think they're going to take that money?
I don't care if they take the money.
That's
There's
what I'm saying. Who does?
Right.
Well, you
Just
can write
pay
that
it
into
off,
the contract too.
Say that again?
You can write that into the contract too, a separate contract with the Treasury.
How do you do that?
It's just the part of the contract that when you're assigning it to the U.S. Treasury, you just write those figures in.
Oh, and add it to the check or the negotiable instrument.
Yeah.
Forgive me, the negotiable instrument.
Yeah.
Okay.
You just give them what you think they would be pleased with.
What they'd be entitled to, or you pay it over.
Yeah.
Right. I'll pay.
If you figure it,
Give
because
them
see,
extra.
what you're going to do, it's like Michael just said. Give. You use the word give. It's a gift.
Yeah.
You're going to gift them this money for this purpose.
Yeah.
You're going to gift them their percentage for the taxes. By the way, if you notice, I put 35%. I know you normally only charge 28%, but I put this much in. If I've given you more, feel free to refund the difference.
Right. Oh, I'm going to try that.
Not only
That'll
getting
be
your house paid off. Yeah, not only are you getting your house paid off, they're going to send you a refund along with it.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, this is all very exciting because your private bank, when people are being trained, my hand is up. I'd like to be one of them. I want to help veterans. I want to help because my dad served for 15 years in World War II and the Korean War. My cousins, my brother,
Really?
all sorts of people in the military, so I want to help them. And my dad got screwed because he never got any of his money during war. He should have been tucked up under the Navy, blah, blah, blah. He didn't get any of it. He was a merchant marine. I want to help people who have come home from prison. My buddy Danny went down for 29 and a half years on a 25 to life charge, and he's been home 6 years in June. And I teach a class to help people learn how to set up credit, and they don't know how to do anything when they come home. So I enjoy doing that, and I'd like to help those guys even more. And then I'm out west. I'm from New York, but I live in Los Angeles now. And the county of Los Angeles are MRFers. They go to old people's houses, put a stamp on there called substandard, and the old people can't sell their house. They can't refinance their house. They can't fix the electrical or put a double strap on the water heater or do any of that stuff. And they're choosing between cat food and human food. And I want to help them. I've got an in with the city and the county, both of them. I've got over 800 people listed. I know their addresses. I can contact them. I can help them. And I look like a math teacher. I've never been one, but that's what I look like. So when I walk down some of these streets, I know to get permission from whoever's running that block, whether it's the Venice guys or LA or it doesn't matter what. I just stomp down the street and I got money. Nobody's going to whack me out for that.
Yeah, man.
So I'm interested in the private banking.
Kudos, brother.
So we got some other people waiting.
Thank you.
Yeah, stay in contact with us, man.
Okay, I will. Thank you.
616 area code. Go ahead.
Hey, good evening, fellas. Tad, Chris, really appreciate the time that you guys are giving me. My brother Guy and I are avid listeners, and we've followed you, Chris, for a long time. And in fact, my brother Guy's already discharged debts through your education and stuff. So we're pretty geeked about being on this call tonight. The one question I have for you.
Tell us your story.
Okay. Well, Guy and I we're executing trust actions for one another, and we mailed our stuff into 1111, and we got our return receipts back, and they're stamped Ogden, Utah. And I was curious why it was sent to Ogden, Utah.
That's where they collect. Ogden, if you Google IRS Ogden, what is the purpose of the IRS in Ogden, Utah? If you Google that, it's going to tell you that's where they collect. And that's where the collections are done. I know you all hear me say send this stuff to Washington, D.C., to the IRS there, the Treasury. Address it to the Treasury at the IRS's address. You guys hear me say this all the time. But I know in most cases it's not even going to stay there. It's going to be shipped to Kansas City, Missouri, or Austin, Texas, or any one of the multitude of satellite offices. The purpose of doing that is to get the Treasury's dirty fingerprints on the package.
Okay.
It would take a little longer. I could say, look, guys, just do your stuff and send all your paperwork to Ogden, Utah, the IRS, and they'll do it. They'll do the same thing there. But you're not getting that green card back signed by an agent. You get that green card back from the IRS, but it's going to say United States Treasury on it. An IRS agent's going to sign that card as an agent of the Treasury. They're agreeing that they're an agent for Janet Yellen. That gets the Treasury involved from the beginning. It may take a little longer because now it's got to go to D.C. and then from D.C. it's got to go all the way out west.
Okay.
It might take a little longer to do that, but they're getting their grubby hands on it.
Gotcha.
And that's what you're doing. You're using the postal rule to create a contract with the United States Treasury. Let them send it to the IRS. That way, if they come back on you and say, oh, well, this is a frivolous filing, I didn't file it. The Treasury filed it. I sent it to the Treasury filed it. Because you're going to sign the back of the 1099-A with the beneficiary signature. You're going to put beneficiary in the borrower's name on the 1099-A. You can't file a frivolous filing as a beneficiary. You can't do it. Someone has to do it for you. That's the biggest argument right there for doing it that way. Now you've got the IRS and the United States Treasury in cahoots with each other to file this thing. I didn't file nothing. The state of Tennessee said that Michael and myself and our comrades filed liens in Davidson County.
Yeah, we
didn't file. We didn't file
all the way to Nashville, each one of us, and entered some documents. It never happened.
Yep, and also, they for one, they weren't liens. They were claims of liens. If they were anything, they were security agreements. They were those were never filed in Davidson County. And we didn't. They kept calling them liens. If you guys will remember watching the Tennessee Supreme Court hearing, Emma Tennant from Jump Street says, well, they're not really liens. The lien is the underlying security agreement. But they continue to call them liens throughout the whole argument. You know what I'm saying? The one judge says, well, these judges know there's no $13 million lien against them. They're not liens. And yet they continue to call them that. And that's where the argument's at. We didn't file any liens in Tennessee at all. We didn't file any liens with the United States Treasury or the IRS. They did. That's why you assign it to Janet Yellen. If you're doing this, the check thing or the money order thing or any of that stuff, you're going to assign it to Janet Yellen. She's the one that's going to handle it. She's the trustee. So I hope did that answer the question?
Oh, absolutely. Gosh, that was great. It was good to get that confirmation. I mean, it's something that we believed, but it was just good to hear it from you, have it confirmed. The other thing I wanted to ask you about is your back injury.
We got other people waiting. He's already addressed that issue.
Yeah,
that's fine.
My back is, I'm getting it took care of. I just got to be real easy, man. I'm not picking up. My wife's like, don't carry that gallon of milk in the house. It's only
my brother and I are prayer partners, Chris. So we're going to pray for your back. I know you got a ruptured disc, so we're going to pray for your ruptured disc. And hey, Jesus is in the business of healing, right?
So,
amen.
All right. I appreciate any and all prayers. Thanks, everyone. I pray for y'all too daily.
Hey, we're real geeked about your private banking too. So,
all right, man.
Okay, so next caller, 202 area code. Go ahead.
Hi, Tad. Hi, Chris.
Hi there.
This is the Sky from DC again. I wanted to ask a quick question, like everyone else, obviously. So I went ahead and did the process of creating a beneficiary account, and what I did was I have some bonds that my parents got for me back. I'm almost 40, so over 40 years ago, and they've matured, and I wanted to cash them, so I thought this would be a perfect opportunity to create the beneficiary account and slowly put these bonds in there to create the account and sign them. Their checks, I can sign them as a beneficiary, open the account as a beneficiary, all that good stuff. In the meantime, I've also been doing the conditional acceptance process when it comes to one of my credit cards. And what seems to have happened is the banks, obviously, they're all in cahoots with each other. So I got a letter in the mail literally just the other day from this bank that I opened this account with December. In December of last year, no problems, deposited the money, everything was great. And now they're telling me they're getting ready to close these accounts, close the account. And I remember you saying that they can't do that, especially if it's a beneficiary account. So I was wondering, what should I do? Because I still want to cash, I still want to deposit these bonds into that account. The whole point was to kind of two birds, one stone, cash these bonds and then also have a beneficiary account set up. So what can I do at this point? It was already hard enough just to find a bank that would accept them without me having to be a customer for a year or 6 months and all this other foolishness.
Mm-hmm. Well, first of all,
my question
they can't close your account.
Right, I remember you said that.
It's just a bluff. It's trying to do a verbal contract. It's
right.
a bluff.
Yeah, and I remember
they're trying to get you to close it.
Well, and that was the thing. So I have the app. Yeah, I have the app on my phone, right? And so I go into the app to try and, just look at the account, and I'm locked out. So I call, and this is how I found out that, right before I found that I got the letter in the mail, I call, and the people are like I felt like they were being super shady because when I asked, they were like, oh, you have to come into the bank. And I'm like, why do I need to come into the bank? I've never needed to come into the bank before. Mind you, I had just opened another account with them. So when I asked the guy, he said, oh, you just have to come in. It doesn't tell me why. So I called the bank, the actual location, and the guy told me, oh, well, because you open a new account, they need to verify your identity. You come in with your driver's license so they can verify that it's you and that it's not a fraudulent account, that's being opened. But then I see these two letters. So now I'm like, well, I'm not going in there. I'm not going into that bank because I was already hesitant about going into the bank anyway when it said that I had to go into the bank physically to do anything after I've already opened the account. So do I I can't deposit these bonds anymore, can I? What do I just leave the money sitting in there?
Here's this is me, okay? This is me talking, and if I was in your situation, I'd go in there all right. And when I left, they would be kissing my ass.
I'm down for that.
I would go in there and see put the feelers out, see what it is they're talking about. And if they say, well, we have to close this account, well, you can't. You've agreed that I am the beneficiary. This is a beneficiary account. You can't close it. I'm the only one that can close it. And I'm not closing it. If you attempt to close this account, and the account's got money in it, right?
Yes, it does.
Okay. If you attempt to close this account, not only am I going to report you to the Security and Exchange Commission for trust fraud, I'm also going to sue you personally, whoever it is, whatever managed person you're talking to. I'm going to sue you personally, have you personally charged with this. And if you attempt to close this account without my permission, what do you intend to do with the money?
Yeah.
Because, see, they tried that crap with me.
Right. I remember you told that story.
Yeah, they tried that with me, and it didn't work too well. I'm not going to cash it. You know what I'm saying? You attempt to close this account and send me a check for the balance, I'm not going to cash it. And until I cash it, the account won't be closed. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to write crazy checks on the account. Even what you would consider overdraft. I would write crazy checks on it. I'd pay everything from that account. Because, see, if you don't cash that check, say they send you a check for $8. That's all you got in your account.
Okay.
You don't cash that check, you own that bank.
Okay.
You'll actually own the bank.
Yeah, because it does say in the letter that they're going to...
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, if they're saying we're going to close the account, they can't. I would go in there and I go, look, I got this letter. I don't know what the hell you people think you're doing in here, but I guarantee you this much, you ain't going to like it. You ain't going to like the outcome. I promise you. You don't even have to tell them what you'll do. You just tell them you're not going to like the outcome. If you attempt to close this and send me the check, then it's not going to ever be endorsed, which means you're owing me. And I'm going to put a lien on your bank, because that's what you'll be able to do. If you don't cash the check, say you got $500 or $1,000 in the account, and they send you a check and you don't cash it, you can turn right around and put a lien on the bank because they owe you money.
Okay. That would pretty
much be where I'm at. As long as you never cash the check, they owe you money.
Gotcha.
So I'm going to put about a $50 million loan, $50 million lien on you. That would be the time to go through the UCC. Go do UCC 1. Put a $50 million lien on Bank of America or whatever it is, and they won't be able to do squat. The bank won't be able to do nothing. And then,
so you're saying to use the UCC 1 to put a lien on the bank?
If they try and close your account and give you a check, I don't care if it's $8.
Yes.
They owe you money.
Right.
And the only way they can tender the payment of debt would be by gold and silver, and they're not going to do that.
Right.
So you put a multi-million-dollar lien on their bank until they pay.
Right.
Until you pay me. In lawful money.
Once a year. Mhm.
Well, with the UCC1, you only have to do it every 5 years.
Okay.
Renew it every 5 years, but it's not going to last that long. A $50 million lien on a bank will put the hurt on it. Put the hurt on it. To the point where they'll be like, just straighten this out with, they'll be contacting you going, look, we'll keep your beneficiary account and we'll help you any way we can. You'll never have any trouble out of us anymore. Just to remove the lien. Okay, I'll remove the lien, but you pull these shenanigans with me again, I'm going to be sitting up there. My office is going to be the bank president's office.
Right.
They'll be scared. They'll be scared. And you'll have some fun doing it. You will. Yeah, have some fun.
Well, no, I totally intend to because, like I said, it took me a while just to find a bank that would accept these, like I said, almost 40-year-old bonds. And I did exactly what you said. I monetized the back of them with the beneficiary. I opened the account, signed as a beneficiary, walked out of there, got all the statements and paperwork and everything like that. But I think because the banks talk to each other, they know that I'm going through, going through things with Capital One. And when I tried to open another account to transfer my money from Capital One to their account, because I'm closing out my accounts with Capital One, I think they got an alert, or maybe I'm on some sort of blacklist because I've been sending out all these things and sending out coupons and letters and just really tearing into people. So I'm totally looking forward to going into the bank. I just wanted to know how I should go about this.
Hey, if they don't want to do your bonds, you can always contract those, assign them to the Treasury, and let the Treasury collect them.
Now that means I would have to mail them off, right?
Yeah, you would.
That's the only thing I would have to send.
You would have to send the originals. I don't know what the amount of the bonds are, but I do know that if the Treasury will take them, you could probably sell those bonds on the. You said they were matured, didn't you?
Well, some of them, because 1984, and my mom had kind of done it where in increments, right? So every paycheck she'd get a CD bond or whatever for $50. So I've got about $10,000 in bonds now, and I'm trying to, they're not all of them haven't matured fully yet, but I want to put the ones that have in the bank and hold on to the other ones until they're finished. But like I said, I'm looking forward to an opportunity to kind of test my skills when it comes to the information that I've learned from you and Tad and Jay.
Carry yourself in there. Yeah, carry yourself in there with full confidence. You own them.
Well, and then I also had read in that I wish I could remember the name of the book at this moment, but it was by that David guy that you had mentioned earlier.
David Straight.
Yeah. And about how you kind of you do it as in a innocent way, right? Like you're just like, well, I don't understand. What do you mean? Like I thought it was this versus that. So I've been playing dumb for a real long time in life, so I definitely know how to make it seem as though I don't really get it.
I don't do that personally because I'm a king. I go in there knowing what I know, and I go in there in full confidence, and to some people it's actually frightening. I mean, to the Social Security people, they were frightened. They were truly frightened when I left out of there. It's like, look, I will own your house when this is over if you fraud my trust. No. There will be a back pay. I will be getting a back pay check. Not even 2.5 days later. $16,000 in my account. That's how you have to be. If you're the beneficiary, be the beneficiary. Know what it is you're supposed to do. Look that up. Look up beneficiary, and look up the trustee and fiduciary, and understand. That's why I say understand trust law, because if you have a thorough understanding of trust law, when you go in there and talk to these people as the beneficiary, you know what you're talking about.
Right.
And you'll have the confidence it takes to go in there and, if you can't, dazzle them with your intelligence, baffle them with a little bullshit.
Right.
And it's enough. Generally it's enough to scare them. Oh man, I don't even think I want to take a chance with this. And if you say, look, I'm going to bank like I normally bank. Well, you can't have a beneficiary account. Why can't I? You accepted the Social Security number, did you not?
Yeah.
Aren't you accessing my trust, my Social Security trust, with your 1099A? You say that kind of stuff, and the bank teller's not going to know what you're talking about, but the administrative people in that bank will. I know what you guys are doing, and I'm okay. I'm not going to say anything about it. Fleece the trust all you want, but take care of the beneficiary, because when the beneficiary is not taken care of, trust fraud charges go flying.
Right.
So we got some other people that are waiting.
Yep.
So,
no, that answers my question, and I'll check back with you next week. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Okay, DC, have a blessed week.
907, your phone just unmuted. Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you for taking my calls. This is Wilford from Willow, Alaska. I called a few weeks ago about a bench warrant, a conditional acceptance, which I did now, and it's going to default here within a day. And I would like to know, as far as getting a default judgment stamp on that, would that be the best way to go, or would there be better options?
There was a bench warrant, right?
It's a bench.
You think they're going to give it?
Conditional acceptance on.
Okay, you did a conditional acceptance on the offer that they made you with the bench warrant.
That is correct.
Right. And you did the conditional acceptance.
Yes, and it's going to,
I'm the judge and the clerk and everybody like that, right?
Uh-huh.
There's nothing they can do.
Now,
they're biased. They're biased. Okay? The court that you did the conditional acceptance with now owes you money. How is it that they can do anything against you? Michael, Lee Cromwell.
Yeah.
He shut him down twice in a vehicular handle.
They stymied the entire court.
The conditional acceptance stymied the entire court, is what the newspaper said. Because when you do this conditional acceptance, sir, from Alaska, yes, there, you've biased them. They owe you money. How is it that you can judge anything? How is it that you can do a summary judgment? You're going to be biased because you owe me money, whatever you do.
Yeah, Lee's judge recused himself.
That's what happened in your case. They owe you money. They must recuse. If they take this any farther than where it was at when you did the conditional acceptance, the only reason they're doing it is because they owe you money.
And
they can.
You don't know what you're doing. They may be testing you.
Yeah. That's what they're probably going to try to do.
Yeah, they're trying to test you to see if you really know what you're doing.
We, based on the things you said earlier in the call, we have in writing established all of those things already, and they were just defaulted on 100% of everything.
They're not going to meet the terms. They're not going to meet the conditions.
It's impossible.
Well, it's not impossible. It's just extremely difficult.
Yeah.
First off, they would have to contact you within 10 days and send you a letter explaining that they need more time. How much time do you need? And your reasons why. Oh, well, we're having a hard time getting together an on-ledger and an off-ledger account of the trust and succession. We're still lacking printing off, 2/3 of documents that are required. We'll need 30 more days. When we say that in the condition, we'll give it to you. You want more time? We'll give it to you.
I had that.
How much time do you need?
Acceptance as well.
Yeah, the what?
Yeah, I had that stated within the conditional acceptance as well.
Yeah, and if they don't contact you within those 10 days by the date on that letter, the letterhead on the top of the page there on the first page, if they don't get a hold of you in those 10 days asking for more time, then they've contracted with you. They agree that they've committed the crimes against you.
Yeah, they
charge them with crime.
That they're trying to verbally recontract with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just disconnect with them altogether and see if they don't just leave you alone. That's how it went down in prison. Yeah.
For instance, we just go to the courthouse for another purpose and we get arrested. As far as them, they're going to do what they do because there was that outstanding bench warrant. And, of course, understand about stating the things that you've stated previously in front of the judge that you would do with the inmates. Would that be just the only thing to say, that I would stand on the previous record and restate?
Yeah, you would say something. Let them, if they take you to jail for something, you go in there to pay for your county taxes or whatever it is you're in the courthouse for. You're in there as a family member supporting someone else. And they say, oh, well, you're George Johnson. We got a bench warrant on you. They'll arrest you, and then they'll bring you in front of the judge. Oh, well, you have this matter you need to address. Well, I'm challenging the jurisdiction. You go in there and you say the things we say or something similar. You don't have to spill out all that stuff we did. We just did it to get it on the record. Really, all you got to do is go in there and say, I, Christopher-Allen Hauser, comma beneficiary, I'm here under fraud, menace, and duress. Fiduciary, whoever the judge is. That's all you really need to say. Because what you're doing is that's a challenge of jurisdiction right there. That's what we were doing, Michael, right?
Yep.
When we said we're here under fraud, menace, duress, and extortion, we were saying that this is a special appearance. I wouldn't be here right now if I wasn't being extorted into being here right now. Or under duress. I'm here in handcuffs. Your cops got guns. I don't want to be here. I'm forced into here. That's a special appearance by nature. And a special appearance is always a challenge of jurisdiction. Always. So they can't do anything. From that point, you would say, if they tried to move, you would say, you can't do that. Like we did. Mr. Hauser, these are some serious charges. How do you plead? I don't. Why don't I plead? Because you haven't answered the challenge of jurisdiction. because you have no jurisdiction. You didn't have any jurisdiction to initially file a bench warrant. They didn't have jurisdiction over you then. And now we got another thing in the mix. It's called, you owe me $8 million, $9 million. How can you sit up there and do anything to me when you owe me? And it's not just the judge. You've got the court. You got the clerk of the court, the prosecutor, and you have the principal, which is the court itself. They can't do nothing to you in that county. And to do it to you in another county would be taking you out of jurisdiction just to put you in another county. You have to be charged and tried in the county that the alleged crime was committed in. The only way that you can change venue is for the defense to change venue. We want to go to another county because we're not going to get a fair trial in this county.
I think in Lee's case, they also brought in a second judge.
Yeah, that was in the civil. There was a criminal suit, and there was a civil suit, and Lee went in to talk to the lawyer. That's where he screwed up.
Yeah,
and he told
exactly.
the lawyer. He said, if they make me go back in there again, I'm going to tell them this thing and that thing. And as soon as he left, that lawyer, his attorney, his piece of shit attorney, called the prosecutor and said, bring him in here again because he doesn't know what it is that he did.
Yeah, he couldn't. He failed the test the second time.
Mm-hmm. He shouldn't have said that at all.
Yeah.
When the judge said there's 56 other judges that could come in here and do the same job I'm doing, what are you going to do, wean them all? He should have said, yeah, if I have to. Yeah. I got you. I got you, didn't I? That ought to tell you I know how to do this. If I got to do it 56 more times, that's going to put more money in my pocket. He could have also said, no, you don't have to bring 56 other judges in here because the court itself is biased now. The court is biased.
Yeah.
4 of the circuit court judges that I hit with this contract in myself over the child support issue, 2 of them are dead.
Yeah.
The county, the court clerk, she's dead. It doesn't matter. They can all die. The court still has. The principal still owed me money. Or they either owe you money or they had to pay you money. Because you'll take that conditional acceptance and you'll monetize it and send it to the Treasury, and the Treasury will collect the money from their trust. That's why when you guys see me hold up the different claims of liens when I did the claims of liens video, and you see the 1096, it's signed by me and has beneficiary as the title. Why? Because I was the beneficiary, but I was also acting as the trustee, getting the money from each of these individuals' trusts. The funds wasn't coming from the Treasury to me. They were coming from the Treasury to the individuals that I conditionally accepted, and acting as a trustee, I was giving them and receiving the funds from the Treasury. We weren't getting money from our trust. We were taking money from other people's trusts who contractually agreed to allow us to do that. that's the situation you're going to be in there, Alaska.
Okay.
All right.
I surely will go that path there, and I believe I'm confident to move forward and take on that challenge, and we will win. God bless you. And
yeah, own them. You own them.
Yeah.
They're in your pocket.
All righty.
All right. Thank you very
Thanks
much.
again.
Oh, come on. Arizona John.
There's John.
Hi, Tad and Chris. Good to be on your show tonight. I've got for the DC woman, and I highly recommend this, on your UCC1 filings. 5 years goes very fast, and then you got to do it again. I put, this is legal. This is a UCC1 lien of the amount. Future restitution, UCC-1 lien with no expiration until satisfied or until the UCC-1 lien upon these mining claim, in-ground assets are satisfied. So anyway, that is the first few sentences. Just until full restitution, because I know you guys, I did that 5 years ago and I got to renew it. I was just saying that was a good suggestion.
Yeah, I understand. There's also non-UCC liens too.
Yeah, well, you got your 100-year common law lien you can file and record with county recorder also, and that specifically does not expire for 100 years or until satisfied. And the person who issues it is the only one that can release it. But I wanted to help her with that.
Thanks for sharing that, John.
I also have one other question.
Michael,
go ahead.
John is John is our minor 49er guy.
Okay.
He's a big Arizona miner dude, who's been doing what we do for quite some time now. They've been trying to steal his land. They've stole his equipment, and they've done him crazy dirty. But he's fighting. This guy here has been fighting for some decades now.
Yeah.
I had actually started fighting planning and zoning in 1982 in America.
Prove it.
The other thing is I'm trying to do with these mining operations to make the most environmentally friendly mine in the world, and I want to hire veterans, handicapped, Native Americans, Ukrainian refugees, and others that need it. And, of course, we have a lot of out-of-work miners that could use a good job. So I'm trying to create jobs in America. And it's just like everything stands against me.
Yeah.
And the politicians, though, when you hear them, they all say, we're creating jobs in America. Look, we created 250,000. Hell, a politician never created a job in his life.
Yeah.
But anyway, I had this one question for you guys. That I see where Michael was trying to get books. And, I would say that it'd be great if somebody could better themselves. But when they found out the books would help him get out of there, they want to keep everybody in prison, get all of us in a prison somewhere? Well, what would be wrong with somebody being able to get out of the mess?
Yeah,
they've got prison bonds assigned to each person that's stuck in there, and they're making millions of dollars per year for each body inside the prison.
Millions?
Millions.
Per body.
Per body.
Yeah.
Wow, wouldn't it be nice if some of the bodies could get some of the millions?
Yeah, that's the plan.
They don't care if you live or die, because the prisons have a life insurance policy on each of the bodies inside prison. So when they die in prison, the prison is the beneficiary of those life insurance policies.
Wow. Is that true also with the Cestui Que Trust behind our Social Security numbers, that they continue taking money even when the person dies?
Well, that's a big
out here, and
I haven't been able to get an answer about that.
Yeah, that was probably a hard question. I was curious.
Usually it matures, and then they just collect. They just collect it. There's hundreds of millions, possibly billions of dollars in your Social Security account that they're going to collect. Let's just get it.
Yeah, they just zoom it out. They know how to do that.
Yeah.
Oh, of course they do.
They could actually, when someone dies, they could actually transfer the trust credits from that trust to maybe a half a dozen newborn babies. And start it all over again.
It's a perpetual game.
Yeah, well, it's also the huge scam is there is no national debt. Who in the hell did we sign up with a contract to spend all this money? And further, who are they paying? You say a national debt. Isn't the United States the supreme dog? Don't they paying themselves a national debt? Of course, we know it's the Rothschilds and all these others are there collecting interest. I find it unconscionable that they keep talking about it when it's a lie.
All right, so, John, we got some other people waiting.
Okay, what was your thoughts on that? Real quick.
On the
national debt business.
Oh, it's all fake anyway.
Yeah, well, you pretty much share. We share the same consensus. Well, anyway, I sure would like to get the minds going. I'll talk to you later on.
All right, John.
God bless. Thank you.
All right.
You too, brother.
901 area code.
Hello, Ted, Chris, and I think Mike is on the line. Oh, wow. My name is Pamela, and I'm calling from Memphis.
Pamela from Memphis.
Yeah, I was in Whiteville for 5 years.
Oh, wow. I've been there a couple of times, traveling back and forth from, like, Bowling Green, Kentucky, and nice country up through there. Yeah. And hadn't seen it in a couple of years now, not since, like, maybe 2016 when arthritis went to just walking in.
Hardman County State Prison.
Hardman County.
I'm down in Shelby County.
Yeah.
Oh, well, anyway, I got a couple of concerns. I got sick back in 2016, and I was working for a bank. I had gotten no short-term disability, and then they also they didn't approve me for unemployment. But after Trump got in, thank God, I finally got my disability. And at the same time, I had a house fire. Was married like 2 years then to a guy that felt like he needed an allotment from the fire. But at the time, I know I'd been in my home 14 years and lost it. But I got an opportunity, thankfully and gratefully, to get it rebuilt with extra floor, paid for. With the insurance money, I paid the mortgage off, and I went ahead and rebuilt. Then when I was out of my house about a year, the next year, 2020, he wanted a divorce. So I was like, thank God for that, got the divorce. And now I'm paying taxes on 2 houses, and before I went to the bank, the real estate market crashed, and I actually got little home for a little extra income. And so right now, after being sick, both my cars paid off. my Cadillac is 02 and my Expedition is 01. And with that Expedition, it's over 200,000 miles. And my Cadillac just had an alternator problem. Drove my son's car up to Walgreens, give me a prescription, come out the store, his car is stolen. I'm like, Lord, Lord, Lord. And he's like, well, Mom, I didn't have insurance on the car. Go down to the impound after the police call, says they're missing 2 tires in the front cap. Get there, there's more caps missing and all 4 tires are gone. And I felt some kind of way because, you know, I was driving this car, and he's like, well, Mom, I'm happy you all right. I'm not worried about that car. And I said, but baby, you owe the note on it. You don't have insurance on it. My car is over 200,000 miles. So, and then these houses, you know, the driveway. There's so much going on. And I've been listening to you, Mr. Chris and Tad, for all of 2022. I started out listening to the Patriots and Pirates, something like that. I got a little confused, but when I was sick, I was in that chair with my arthritis 7 months. I had to sit in a chair, couldn't lay down at all. Grandbabies coming, and that was the only joy I felt from, you know, some relief, just having them around. And now I'm being sued over a loan. You know, I got my other house fixed over there, but once I got sick, paying all my bills on time, automatic draft, you know, all my bills up. Now I'm just having these issues with trying to get me another car and hopefully try to satisfy my son. So I went on the website for the Internal Revenue trying to get my forms in, my 1099s and OIDs. I went on eBay. I'm not just that computer savvy, so I just ordered them from eBay. I got my 3 kits, and I'm ready to use them. Like I say, by me being in the house, and I'm not used to being in the house because I sold A-bonds so long. I had 31 reps, and so my business life just, it's not like it used to be.
Let me ask you, did you when you ordered that on eBay, did you order from that website that has my name on it and everything?
Yeah, I saw your picture. I saw that Ben Franklin. I heard that video where Ben Franklin come from. So I sleep with it. Yeah. Mr. Chris, I sleep with you.
That wasn't my listen. That wasn't my eBay.
Oh,
that was somebody
Lord.
using my name and my picture, and they're selling these kits for $29.
Well, I bought it was $88. Yeah, because I asked for 3, and I didn't know 3 was gonna be on each page. So it's like I got 9 of each. So I'm satisfied. I didn't care if I paid $200, but I know I need some help. And
I hate it for you because I don't know how long ago you got them, but they're sending them out like crazy now. They're free.
Wow. Yeah, about 3 weeks ago, and I wanted to talk to you last week, and that, but you had phone issues, And
how can I help you? What question? Do you
what's
have?
the question?
My question is, how do I try to settle up and help my son get his car paid for first? Do I offer him a 1099A or show him how to use a 1099A to pay, that car off, so he won't be just, responsible for that car?
Well, he's got a loan for a car. He can offer them a 1099A as a payment. Look at the remittance letter. Learn how to teach him how to write the remittance letter, and then he can use that process to use a 1099A to make an offer to clear that debt.
Okay.
And if they refuse to accept it, he doesn't owe them anymore.
Okay. Okay, well, that makes sense. And
I think if you go on youhavetheright.com, there's probably a remittance letter there. If not, email me and I'll send you a copy of what a remittance letter looks like.
Okay, because it's just been so much I've been going through these past 6 years.
Sounds like you've had a hard time.
Well, we all got to suffer one way or the other.
You definitely sound like a strong woman. You've probably been through had a hard time your whole life.
Book them, Dano. Yeah. But, it takes a fool to learn, so it's sometimes good to be a fool. So it takes a fool to learn.
Yeah.
And, thank you very much for calling.
Thanks for being on the call tonight.
Now, I want to ask you one more question about this lawyer that's calling me. Like I said, before I got sick, I took out a installment loan, and I know it was about $10,000, and I was paying on it real good until I got sick. So he took me to court, and he told me it was $10,000. I said, no, I don't owe you no $10,000. So he was like, well, what you think you owe me? And I said, well, I don't think I owe you that much. He said, well, can I say 7? So I really didn't sign anything. He sent me something in the mail. So I was paying only $100 a month, like I told him, I'm on disability, first of all. Mm-hmm. And but he was like, well, this the contract. He sent me the old contract through the mail. They had it delivered to me. And that right there, and I just stopped paying them because, like I said, I got too much to do. And I guess they're going to have to try to send me back to court because I don't have the funds already to try to pay taxes on both these houses I have being under disability.
Here's what you do. Send them $5 or $10 a month.
Okay. For life.
Send them $5 or $10 a month. As long as you're making a payment, they can't do nothing about it.
Okay, that's right. Well, I just get my checkbook ready for that because I was prepared to send him a 1099A2. That's why I'm glad they sent me a lot because I anticipate trying to get me some more vehicles because I'm a grandmother now and I got a little foster kid here and an 8-year-old grandson, and I'm not good at seeing good at night. So I just want to know when I do go because I still like my Cadillacs and I still like my Expedition, so that's my aim to go and get that. Yeah, and I'm gonna tell you the truth. I don't know my credit score.
Yeah, you can. That's another story. You can write them and dispute everything on your credit score that's bad, and they have to take it off.
But I don't know my credit score.
Yeah, like I said, that's the best. You can offer this lawyer. You can call him and say, look, would you take a 1099A for to settle this debt in full? And if they say no, send them $5 a month.
Okay. And but by me not knowing my credit score, when I go to this car lot and fill this application out to use my 1099A, is credit a issue? It shouldn't be an issue if it's coming from just
usually the only time credit's involved is when you're filling out the application for financing, and the only reason you do that is so that they can accept your Social Security number and become a trustee in your trust. That's it.
So when they come back and tell me that I'm not approved, they come back and tell me I'm not approved for the car.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you're not trying to get a loan. You're trying to get them to accept you as the beneficiary.
And that's how I signed on the application.
Yeah.
And that's how I signed on the application without prejudice.
No.
My name is.
No, just sign with the beneficiary signature. You don't need to sign without prejudice.
Okay.
You're not disputing anything. You're not disputing anything on that application. No need to sign that way. All right.
All right.
Well,
thank you for the clarity.
Thank you very much.
Yep. Have a blessed day.
Okay, 509 area code. You're next.
Hi.
Chris and Kat, I was wondering if this is Sherry Elizabeth from Washington. So back to there was a few callers back that how you were talking about the check if they sent you a check. Well, this was what Wells Fargo did, but I didn't cash it. I made a copy of the $2 check and sent it back to them. And then they inquired about the check, and I've got that communication too. And I basically, sold the stock that my dad left me to get Wells Fargo, even though I knew it was already paid off. And right now, I have a complaint lodged with the CFPB, and they've lied to the CFPB already. Anyway, what my question is, because I know we got to stay on focus, is should I draft up a letter? I mean, I know pretty much how to handle myself, but I'm thinking, what would you do? Wells Fargo's got the $2 check. They were asking about it, and then see, this is what they did. They told the CFPB that they sent me a $2 escrow check because they stole the escrow, the remaining amount of the escrow. They kept it.
How much was if you don't mind me asking, how much was the escrow? Well,
there was they gave me a check in June for $137.02 or something like that, but there was like $189 that was left in there. They split it was a total of $313 and some change, and they never gave me the rest of it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they can't prove that. All you have to do is dispute that they didn't pay you in full. Like you said, if you don't cash the $2 check because
I sent it back to them. No, Chris, I sent it back to them, but I made a copy of the check, and that they can't cash the check. I'm sure you're going to tell me that. So, but what have they done? Huh?
Okay, yeah, I see what you're doing. They can't prove that you endorsed it, so they still owe it.
Right.
Well, that being said, you're a shareholder.
Well, right.
You can actually go into their board meetings.
And what I did is
here at the bank.
Go ahead.
No. I was just laughing and getting a drink.
All right. So what I did, like what you had suggested to the other caller, is I've been pissed at Wells Fargo. I know there's a lot of people on this call that are probably very angry at Wells Fargo. Anyway,
no, they're assholes. They're like all the other banks. They're assholes.
So I put a $500. I know you said $50 million. I just put a $500,000 notice of lien against them. It's recorded here in Washington, and it's still good until 2025. I plan on renewing it, but I might just go ahead and up it with a UCC3 for like $500 million and turn it over to Yellen. What do you think?
Yeah.
Because
I was going to suggest that with the 500,000.
Yeah. Okay.
Monetize it. Assign it to the Treasury. Let Janet collect it and get 35%. They'll go get it. So you can't go into Wells Fargo and say, "Give me my money," but the Treasury can. They will. They'll go get it from them.
So I'm wondering about the CFPB and how effective they really are, because they're talking about a lot of people that are supposed to get, settlement. And I'm wondering if it's just a farce, because that's a lot of bread. You and I know that. Where is the money going to come from, Chris? Huh? Now I know what you're going to say.
It comes out of thin air.
Right, they're going to get. They're going to create a thin air, right? But they've got all of our Social Security numbers. Those that have done assignments with Wells Fargo, with mortgages or whatever.
Yeah.
So basically, they're probably going to go in there and knock on the Treasury's window and say, "Hey, we need this for XYZ from this account," right? Don't you think that's how they're going to pay it back?
Yeah, they will. They'll shuffle it around like they want.
Mhm. All right, and then I have just one other short question about the VA.
Okay.
Now, I'm having trouble with my local Walla Walla VA. I mean, I wanted to have a special blood test for my kidneys today, and the lady did come out, but I had told her it was a Homer. I couldn't remember the whole write-up for it, but I knew it was Homer, but I forgot the 1R. And so they refused to let me have it. You know, the doctor has to look to see. And I was thinking to myself, how come these guys act like they are over us, Chris? I mean, I already went in there and told them, hey, look, I'm the beneficiary. I've already expressed the trust to them. I've told them on the phone, you guys are acting in a trustee position. But they're just still not getting it.
That's when you say, do I need to bring the feds in here with criminal charges on you?
Right, that's why I'm at.
They're not like cops. They don't have qualified immunity. They don't have it. Cops are starting to figure out that they can, how quickly they can use their own or lose their own, I should say.
Right. Right.
Those people don't have it. They can easily be sued.
So do you think I should go to the OIG or the Department of Justice? Who should I go to, Chris? Because I'm ready. I'm done negotiating with these guys right now.
First thing I would do is I'd go to the director of the VA hospital. Whenever I have any problems down there in Johnson City, when I go to Mountain Home, talking to the people that down in records or whatever, that was the last time I played that card. Do I need to come? I live 75 miles away from this hospital. Do I need to come down there and speak with the director?
See, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go next week back over and ask to talk to the main guy over there, because I mean, Julie Sanchez.
If they're not giving you what you think you need done, then they're malfeasant. And and now do I really need to come down here and talk to the director? Because when you start saying stuff like that, they go, oh my God, this person here knows that.
Right.
That they can go straight to my they go straight to my boss, and even the doctors will be like, you know what? I don't even want him down here breathing around my office. I'll just go ahead and approve this test that she's wanting. And if they won't do it, then outsource it.
Right.
Talk to outpatient, community outpatient care, patient care.
Right. It's like they try to guilt me into, well, if you do that, then you will have no more, and they make me try to get afraid that I'm not going to have the kind of they're not providing anything anyway. I know there's other people that need to talk, Tad. I'm just frustrated with this VA. I am. I've been going down to the patient advocate today when I was there.
Join the club. Join the club. But here's what you definitely need to do: go in there and throw your weight around. Because for one, you'll get action, and for two, it's kind of fun.
Yeah. The thing, that one lady, when I was serving her the affidavit system, they're messing around with my address, too. It's taken me 4 years to get my name corrected, and they keep on messing around. And they took the CO off of my address. That's mail tampering. I told her that. I took over there and served her an affidavit stamped Office of the Executrix for Sherry Elizabeth Becker. And I told her, and she was like, she came running out. She was the boss. She was the head of eligibility, and she was all pissed off. And I was like, hey, this is the way it's got to be. And then they were blaming it on Sterner, okay? That's what they're trying to do. And that one guy, records guy, he was like, oh, my God, Sterner's a nightmare, blah, blah, blah. But they're hiding. They always make excuses. They blame the software, this, that. But it's like they didn't have any right. They took the name off of, they altered my address, Chris.
Yeah. Yeah, that's when you gotta be forceful with the VA. Mm-hmm. They'll look at you like, damn, that bitch. When you leave, you'll be all kind of bitches and everything.
Right.
But you'll leave there.
Listen, they could grab me, Chris. Mm-hmm. That's another fear I have. They could just grab me and start medicating me, because you never know what they're going to do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well.
Anyway, we got some more people waiting.
All right. Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Thanks for being on the call tonight. It's interesting.
314 area code. Go ahead.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, that's great. I have not been following you that long, Chris, to be honest, but only by the grace of God I just ran across you. I've been studying this for a very long time, but I heard you say in one of your videos, there's a lot of people that have done the process and they have these bonds sitting at the Treasury and never utilized any of it. And to be honest, I'm one of those people. I have went through the process of turning everything over to the right people, receiving back my green cards from everybody. And this was actually in 2019 that I actually done this. And after I done this, I attempted to utilize my credit. I did a promissory note, and it had everything on there, the UCC, the International Promissory Note, the Universal Conviction. It had everything on there. So I went to a dealership and I explained to them, hey, this is what I did. This is going to be beneficial for the both of us. You know, they accepted it. And I wrote it for $1 million. And they accepted it. 3 days later, they come back and tell me that it had been returned. But the thing of it is, they did not return to me that note. So at the time, I really didn't know what my next step was going to be. So what I did was I went to another dealership, and I went in there and I spoke with the president of that dealership, and he told me, I'm going to wait and talk with the president of the bank. 2 days later, they called me back and told me, yeah, you could come in and utilize your process here. But I didn't do it. But at this point, my question is this. I would like to try to utilize my notice of authorized credit. I've never done it before, but I heard you speak of it. And I know that I have like my tracking number, my Treasury stuff is on file. It's there. You know, I just would like to.
You've done the redemption manual process thing, or something similar to it.
Something similar, not quite that.
Yeah, it's some kind of administrative process that you've done, where you serve them the notices and all that, and you created a bond.
Yes, I'm
not completely familiar with what process or whose process you use. I know that there's probably about 12 different processes that are all basically similar, but each guru has had their own, different, their own different nuggets here and there that they put in there, and this is mine. That's so common that there's a process out here that someone's refined and then they share it with someone else and they add a little something special to it. Well, now it's mine, When you guys do this, I've seen this. I've seen these bonds. You have a certified copy of the bond that was created, correct?
Yes.
Okay. That bond is a copy. It's a certified copy. The original's actually been sold, and they're moving it all around. It's being bought and sold constantly. But the fact is, there's not a whole lot you can do with that now, per se. You can't go out there and say, I want to cash in this original bond. I want all my money. Because the process isn't going to allow you to do that. But you have a certified copy. That's a negotiable instrument. You can actually monetize the back of that bond, assign it to the Treasury, and let the Treasury will say, oh, here's the certified copy of the bond. Well, what's up with the original? Well, the original's over here, going here and there and bouncing all around the place. They'll look at your copy and they'll say, why don't we pull some money out of thin air and just drop it right in this bond, and then we'll collect it, and then we'll take our cut and we'll give her hers. that's the thing that the only real game I've been down the road with these folks that are doing this thing with the bond. I've heard all the different things that you can do, or most all the different things that you can do once you do this. And this is the thing that y'all are claiming makes you a secured party creditor. But really, the only reason is because you can count that bond. You've created that bond. That's what makes that's what makes you the secured party creditor. But what good is it going to do you if you can't use that to pay off everything and go buy what you want and stuff like that? Why not? This is the same concept that we'll eventually use with the birth certificate. The birth certificate is a certified copy. It's not the original birth certificate. It's a certified copy.
Right.
The original's out there being sold around. So what do? Let's take the certified copy and monetize it like you would signing a check. It's that signature that makes the check worth money. The check isn't worth the paper it's written on until you sign it. It's the same thing with that certified copy of the bond that you got. If you have a certified copy of a bond that says $100 million on it, you can monetize that. It'll turn it into it'll create an authentic bond instrument, security instrument that you can now give to someone. Here it is. You could probably take your bond, monetize it, and take it to a bond exchange and say, I want to put this bond on the market or sell this bond on the market. You could probably do something like that. But why not let the Treasury do it? Here, you get this. Give me what I got coming due. Let them do it for you.
Okay,
that's
so
that's the only thing I'm telling the folks that got these $100 million bonds. What I would do if I had gone that route, I know a lot of people have spent a lot of time and a lot of money creating these things, and then they turn around later on and they're like, okay, now what do I do? What do I do with this thing? If they're saying, come on down here, we'll do your process, give it a shot. Go on down there and do it. You're never going to know if it's going to work or not if you stay at home and don't come up.
Was they just kept, like my thoughts are this, it did work. And after 3 days, they said that the funds were returned back to the Fed wire. So I didn't pick up any of the vehicles, but this was just my foot in the door to see if all of the work that I had done would, come about, if I could move forward with it. And they did accept it. Yeah, they did accept it. But whenever you think about the birth certificate, I did get the live birth certificate, and I did a non-transferable negotiable chargeback on that, and I sent it back into them with my thumbprints on the back and my signature.
Mm-hmm.
So I did do that. Yeah.
So how is it? Here's the question: how has it benefited you?
Nothing. That's what I mean. It just seems like basically I put everybody
until it benefits you. You've wasted all that money. That's why I say, and there's dozens of folks that have sent me emails that I got my contract in with the Treasury. See, now, these folks that have got this contract in with the Treasury, they're probably going to, the Treasury's probably going to tell me, hey, man, here's a list of, 50 guys that have their $100 million bond in. They need to start their private bank and and their fluff money is going to be $65 million. These guys can start loaning. That's how it would. That's one way it benefits you if you did that. If you took your $100 million bond, contracted with the Treasury, and told them, look, put mine in trust credits into my trust.
Okay.
Now all of a sudden you got a contract because you ain't heard from them in 45 days, and you did all this stuff. Now you got a contract. That's what will make you the real secured party creditor. Because now you can say, the Treasury owes me $65 million. And they know it. And they know that I know it. Right now, your $100 million bond's out there running around, and you can't really say why it is that you are a secured party creditor. Who's holding the money for the bond? Who's holding the bond? You guys have no idea where your bonds are at, who's holding them. Why aren't you getting royalties from these bonds? That'd been the first. If I would have done this process that y'all are doing, that'd have been the first thing I'd said. I at least deserve royalties from this bond. You guys are making all this interest off. You guys are making interest off $100 million, and I'm not getting any royalties of this. Why not? That would have been my first question. But that's some things you can do. You can do the contract with the Treasury and tell the Treasury, look, I want my $65 million in gold and silver coins. I want mine. You can send those to me. And the next thing you know, you got a freaking armored car rolling up with big sacks of silver coins.
Yeah, right.
Okay, well, I've seen how you had monetized the back of one of your documents. So should I monetize the back of my bond that way and send it off to the Treasury? Yeah. Is there something I should put with it?
Well, you could write a cover letter and a contract. You know what I'm saying? You can do send a cover letter, itemizing everything that you put in there, and then monetize the back of the bond. It's not. Look at y'all. It's not hard to monetize. It's a simple process. Crazy simple. Let me see here. I'm trying to pull it up so I can tell you straight up how it works. I can't find it right now. But I think I got it I probably got it on my phone here. I know I do because I just printed it out, a copy of it out today and sent it to my prison buddy. Let's see here. I just got a message from my wife. Michael, Ron's is saying pending now.
Okay.
His decision saying pending.
That's good news. Good news.
That's fantastic news.
On that note, I'm going to say goodbye, and I'll meet you tomorrow at noon at the library.
All right, man.
Hey, thank you for joining us tonight.
Looking forward to seeing you tomorrow. Let's get on up there and take care of our buddy there.
You bet. Have a good evening.
Have a good night, man.
Bye-bye.
Okay. All right. You'd have, if to monetize the back of your bond, you'd have an instrument number, okay? That would be the bond number. Okay, that would be the bond number. And then below that, you'd have pay to the order, colon. You'd have your upper and lowercase name, your beneficiary name, with the hyphens and the colon, comma beneficiary, and then after beneficiary, you'd write of the Social Security Cestui Que Trust, and then you'd put the all caps name, the trust name, and then you'd put trust number, and that's where you'd put the Social Security number. Below that, you'd put the amount, what the bond was, $100 million. And then below that, you would write without recourse, and then you do a date below without recourse, and then you do autographed, colon, give yourself a signature line to sign a beneficiary signature, and then put your beneficiary name below that. You do that on the back of your your bond, and it's monetized. It now became worth $100 million.
Okay. And mine was actually $200 million, and I didn't.
Well,
after I
put
put
$200 million.
Huh? Just put the $200 million?
You put 200. Yeah, you put $200 million.
Okay.
It's whatever the bond was worth. The bond number, and then the rest of what I said.
Okay.
It's pretty simple.
Question?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you for calling in.
All right. Thank you so much.
You bet.
Have a blessed night.
Okay. So, Chris, how you feeling?
I'm about ready to lay down.
Okay. I'm going to call it tonight. Then we had a couple left, but I'm feeling kind of like you.
Yeah, I got it.
Oak Hill, New York. If you want to send me an email next week, you'll be next in line, first in line next week. Luciana Lewis Luciana 516. If you want to send me an email next week, then we'll put you second in line next week.
Yeah.
So, everybody, please join our mailing list at youhavetheright.com so you can stay up to date with various things that we're doing, such as these calls and new technologies that are being provided. And think about becoming a member at youhavetheright.com. It helps us out a lot.
Yeah, man.
We really appreciate it. And everybody, thank you for joining. I really appreciate it. And, of course, Chris, thank you, too. I appreciate the effort you put into these calls and helping people out.
Yeah, brother.
So, all right, everybody, we will see you next week. Good night.